Hi, welcome to the AWS IAM crash course. My name is Khaja. I love sharing the technical information. You can always reach out to me on the LinkedIn link shown on this page. Let's look at the agenda. We'll have a very brief introduction about AWS IAM. Then we will look into the differences between root versus IAM users. Then we will look into some terminology that is frequently used with AWS IAM, and we'll start looking into the different AWS users. We'll create a user, we'll attach the user to user groups, we'll create a role and then attach that role to users or groups. We'll create policy and we'll be creating various IAM policies, and then we'll look into the evaluation logic of the AWS policy. We'll create AWS organizations. We'll have a look into different kinds of organizations that we can create and how organizations are maintained. We'll look into AWS identity providers, though I may not be able to give you a practical view of that, but I'll give you a high overview of what are identity providers and how they are used with AWS IAM. Then we'll look into AWS Access Analyzer. This is one of the best features of AWS IAM, where we can see what all people are doing in the organization at one place, most of the things. We'll end with IAM best practices. Of course, I'll be updating the glossary of terms and also the resources being used. So what is a IAM user? So IAM user is one of the core services, if not the most important service of AWS. And the acronym for IAM is Identity and Access Management. And IAM helps give very fine-grained control to users or other programs, like a front end talking to a backend to access AWS resources like an EC2 instance, S3 bucket, RDC, etc., for both authentication and authorization purposes. So let's understand what is a root versus IAM user. A root user is the user that you have first created an AWS account with, and we call that particular user as root user. A root user should never be used thereafter unless you hit a catastrophic issue. And as a best practice, you should only use root user to create the very first IAM user. Of course, there are certain things that we obviously need to do with root user, and we'll be looking at that later. And what is a IAM user? We create an AWS IAM user to represent either a user or an application who can then interact with the AWS resources, all the required AWS resources. It's very important for us to understand that an IAM user with administrative privileges is not equivalent to a AWS account root user. And let's understand some terminology here. So let's look into what is a principal. A principal is a person or an application that can make a request for an action either through a web or an operation that we do either through a API on an AWS resource, kind of any resource like S3 bucket, EC2, etc. The principal is authenticated as the AWS account root user, or it can be an IAM entity to make requests to AWS. So a principal is nothing but you can think of it as a user or an application. And what is authentication? In simple terms, authentication is nothing but who that user is. Okay, who that user that we are trying to allow to sign in or log in. And authorization is nothing but what kind of access that we are giving to the resources. In this case, what kind of access that we are granting, like either it is a S3 bucket, EC2 instance, etc., and also what kind of fine-grained controls that we want to give. Let's look into different kinds of AWS resources. So we have already looked into root users and IAM users. So let's look into the federated users. In a large organization, there might already be having some sort of identity provider like an Active Directory where all the users are being managed. Okay, and when you want the organization to move to a cloud provider like AWS in this case, the organizations would ideally want to reuse the existing identity providers rather than creating every user a unique username and password or a set of credentials. So federated user is nothing but a user who is residing in it in an active directory, but be able to access the AWS resources. So don't worry if you do not understand this. We'll be having a deep dive into the federated users. Now let's try to create a user. For that, I have navigated to the Chrome browser and navigated to aws.amazon.com/console. Click on the sign into the console button shown on the top right. If you remember earlier, I told you that there are two different types of major users. One is the root user and the second is IAM user. So let's log into the root user. I entered the email address and click on next, and let's type the characters shown here on the image. Click on submit button and I entered the password and click on sign in. I have enabled the multi-factor authentication. So let me try to enter the multi-factor authentication and click on submit. So this is the account that I have logged in, is a root account. So you can look into various details here like the account number, organization, billing, etc. And now what we are going to do here is that let's navigate to IAM. For you, it might not be showing under there. What you can do is that type IAM over here and click on the first option under services, that is IAM. So you can see that there is access management and access reports. So these are the two main activities that we can do on IAM. And when you click on the dashboard, so these are the options that will be showing. For the very first time when you log in as a root user, there will be a set of best practices and you will be also seeing some kind of warnings like set proper password or set up multi-factor authentication, create IAM user, etc. So you can do that. When you log into the IAM dashboard for the very first time as a root user, what you can do is that you can see here the sign in URL for IAM users, meaning that let's say that you want to create multiple IAM users and want to pass the credentials to those people. And for them, what you can do is that you can directly give this link, which will be taking to this particular link where actually they can enter their credentials. We'll be seeing that in a moment. What I'm going to do for now is that let me click on users. You can also navigate from the left side clicking on users. And I already have a few users over here, but let me click on add user here and I can give a name. I'll say demo user 1. You can add, by the way, you can add multiple users here. So I'll just create one user for now. And there are two different access types here. The AWS management console access is nothing but users who wants to log in from the console, that is from the web browser. Programmatic access is nothing but applications that wants to access this particular username and credentials, that is through API or SDK, etc., or even CLI. What I will do is that I'll give both the access and I'll give custom password, or let's see, I'll give the console password here, the auto generated. And what I'm saying is that whenever the user logs in for the very first time with this username, he or she has to reset their password and update it. So let's click on next. And right now I'm just leaving everything default. I'm not selecting. So I'll be showing what is the problem that we can face if we do not set the permissions. So let's click on next. The tags are optional. These are nothing but key value pairs. You can just remove, just ignore this for the moment. Click on next. And these are the credentials that gets created. So let's click on create user. And the user is been getting created. Now what I'll do is that I'll go to the next page. That is, I'll open an incognito window. And if you remember earlier, I told that there is this particular link. So let me open a new tab. Let me copy this link. It's not mandatory that you need to remember this link or always type this. You can even navigate from the earlier console login page that I have shown earlier. So the beauty of that particular link is that it will autofill the alias. So we'll be seeing what exactly is that. So you can see here that the very first option is that you need to enter your account ID. So the account ID is nothing but on the top right, you can get the account ID here. So that's your account ID of the root user and the IAM credentials. So what I'll do is that I will copy this demo user here and I'll paste it here, and then I'll say show password, and I'll copy that password as well and click on sign in here. You can see that it's asking to change the password to continue. So I'll click on that and I'll set some random password here. Okay, and then click on confirm password change. So right now we are logging into the AWS console as a IAM user. So earlier we have logged in as a root user. Now we are logging into a IAM user. So the UI might look almost the same, but the difference is that here you can see it shows the username with your alias, or if you have logged in to a with a account. Okay, now let's look into one of the services called EC2. We'll not go in depth into this, but we'll see whether we have access to this. All right, so now you can see that we are getting all errors. Okay, so which means that we'll not be able to access EC2. Now let's see about S3 bucket. So let's click on S3 bucket here, and even with the S3 bucket, we'll not be able to do anything with the S3 bucket. So you can see that we are getting an error here. So let's overcome this error. For that, what we will do is that we will again navigate back to the IAM user. Let's go to the IAM console and click on the user. Click on the demo user 1. You can see that right now it is only attached the policy. Don't worry about this. We'll be getting in depth into this. What I'll do here for now is that I'll click on add permissions, attach existing policies, and give it administrative access. That's it. We have attached it. Now let's try to refresh it. The change is almost instantaneous, right? So you can see that now it is not throwing any error. We can list the buckets. And similarly, if we go to EC2 for this particular user, we should be able to see no errors, right? So that is all about EC2 user or an IAM user. Now let's look into the user groups. So it's not always possible that we create users and then attach all the policies the way that we have seen earlier. Instead, what we can do is that we can create users. So for that, you can go to the user groups. User groups is nothing but kind of a bucket into which you can attach different users, multiple users, and a user can be attached to multiple user groups. Now what I'm going to do is that I'll click on create user. I'll just say demo users, and I'll attach what are the policies that we need to attach for this. So administrative access for this. So we'll search for admin, and we should be able to get, yeah, the administrator access. We select that and click on add permissions. So now we see that this particular user group is attached to that admin access. Okay, so it is demo users. You can see that we have identified one user here. So now what we will do is that let's go to the users where we have attached individually the administrative access for this. And what we will do is that we will delete this one, that is administration access. So let it get deleted. Now what we will do is that since this particular user is already attached to the groups, now let's go back and check in S3 bucket. We should ideally be not seeing any errors over here. So it should still be listing the buckets. We go to EC2 and even the EC2 should be showing no errors. So we are good. So we have removed the individual permissions that we attached to the user earlier. And now, instead of attaching the permissions individually, we have attached this user to the group. It's like dumping the user into the group bucket called demo user 1, which is having administrative access. So that's the beauty of having user groups. You can create multiple user groups for your organization, and the good thing is that you can have your users in multiple groups. Like for example, I can go to the user groups, and let's say I have admin, another group. What we can also do is that here I can add the demo1 user. So I can click on add users. So now this particular user is part of two different groups. How we can see that? We can go to users, and then we can see under the so let's go to the demo user one. You can see under groups how many groups it's been attached to. All right, so that's about user groups. Of course, there are a lot of options that we can do under user groups. Like for example, if I select demo users here in this case, you got the users. So in this particular user group, how many users are there? What is the last activity that they have done? And what is the creation time? So when it was created, and how many in how many groups this user exists. We can click on this and it will show the other groups. Since the demo users is already shown here, it will show the other groups. And then you can go to permissions, and here you will see what all permissions are applicable for this particular group. Do not worry about Access Advisor. We'll be looking into Access Advisor in detail at a later point. So that's about create user groups. Now what we will do is that we will create a role and attach the users, or in this case the user that we have created, or we can even attach the group. For that, let's navigate to the roles. I'm still into the AWS console as an admin or as a root user, and I'll click on the create role. So there are two things that we need to select. One is the trusted entity, and the other is the use case that we want to apply this role on. So as I mentioned earlier, role is nothing but something that we will be attaching to the AWS resource. Okay, not like a typical user, like the way that we log into the AWS console. So we'll try to understand that in a moment. Okay, we'll get to that. So here the four options, let's quickly skim through this. So the first option is AWS services. So this role can be applied to the services, or if you want to do a cross account kind of a role, you can click on this AWS another AWS account at fill this account ID with the account ID of the other account that you want to access with. And the third option is web identity. So as you can see here, the web identity is nothing but on your mobile or on your laptop or PC, you might have from time to time log in with not just your website credentials, but also you can log into website these days with your Facebook credentials, your GitHub credentials, your LinkedIn credentials, etc. So that is what we call as web identity provider. And the last option here is SAML 2.0 federation. It's nothing but the federated users which we have seen earlier. So you can have an Active Directory for your company where you can log in with that account, which will be redirected once you entered the proper credentials to the AWS console. Okay, so for this exercise, we will be selecting the first option, that is AWS service, and I want to select the EC2. Okay, so I'll select EC2, click on next, and what I'll do here is that, okay, on EC2, what is that we want to perform? So I'll search for EC2, come over here and give Amazon EC2 full access. So we'll be looking this in great detail in a couple of minutes. Okay, there is a set permission boundary, but we will leave this for now. We'll keep the defaults. Click on next and then click on review. Let's give it a name. So we'll say EC2 So we'll say demo EC2 full access and click on create role. All right, so this has been created. Now where we can use this role, you cannot attach it to the users. Okay, like for example, you go to users, click on demo user one. If you click on add permissions, select attach existing and search for demo, it will not show up here. Okay, because this is not a policy that we have created, but it's a rule that we have created. So what we can do is that you can go to EC2 here, click on EC2 instance. So let it load, and what we will do is that click on instances and click on launch instance. So I'll select an AMI here, the first one. Click on select, will keep default. Click on next, and here is where you have this option called as IAM role. So right now you can see that you can create a new IAM role, or if you click on the drop down, you will be seeing this demo EC2 full access. Okay, and I'll just click on review and launch, and click on launch. I will use the default demo key pair. Don't worry, we'll be having a detailed crash course on EC2 later. Just for this video, I just wanted to show a demo using EC2. Okay, click on that, and it will take a little bit of time. You can see that right now it is in the pending state. It will take from 30 seconds to 1 minute. Okay, so that's how you create roles. Okay, you create roles in that way, and you attach it to the services that you want to create. See, right now you can see that it is in running state. When you click on connect here and click on connect, right now it's opening in the browser. We can also launch the EC2 instance by SSH into that EC2 console. So that's it. I will just close this for now. Go back to the EC2 instance. It's very important that any service that we have created, it's important we delete, or else we'll be charged. So I'll just say terminate instance directly. You can say stop and terminate also. Right. So that's about creating role and attaching. Sorry, it's not attaching to the user. It should be attaching to the resource. So I'll correct this. And now let's look into creating the policy. So before creating the policy, let me go back to the IAM user here. And on the left side, you see policies. So you click on the policies, and you will be seeing a bunch of policies. In fact, there are 812 policies. These are AWS managed policies. Okay, so if you click on the filter option, you can see that there are 805 AWS managed and some job specific policies. So let me filter it out. Okay, so these are the policies. What we can also do is that we can create a policy as well. But before that, let's try to understand what is the policy. If you remember, in the role we have created a role, and we have attached a default policy, that is EC2 admin policy. But sometimes what happens is that we want to create a policy with multiple options. Okay, so let's look into that. For that, let me click on create policy here. You have a very good visual editor here, or if you are good with JSON, you can go to the JSON and also create within this JSON editor. So I'll go to the visual editor here, and you got 4 options here. So you can click on choose a service. Now what is the service that we want to create? So I'll say S3. Okay, so S3 is what I have selected, and I'm saying all actions. Don't worry, we'll be seeing this. And then the next option is click on resources, and I'll select all resources. So which means that this particular S3 service can perform all these actions on these resources. And for now, I'll leave the conditions. Okay, so I'll not touch the conditions at this point. And if we go back to the JSON, it should have updated now. So any kind of action that you add here, it will be attached under statements. Okay, so a policy will be having a version. So this is the version that we are using, and then every policy that we will be creating under this policy document will be attached as an array, as an object of array. Okay, so these are the four options that will be available for each and every policy that we create. One is the ID. In this case we have given visual editor, not we have, it's defaultly given. We can also update S3 full access, and the effect is very important here. What we are saying is that whenever a certain user or a certain role assumes this particular policy, then it should allow that particular user to to perform these actions. That is, we are saying on all S3. Okay, all S3 options, actions that it can do on all resources of S3. That is, you can have multiple buckets, so you can even filter it out by giving the path to that particular bucket. So right now we will leave it there, and what I would also want to do is that I want to add another permission here, and that is for EC2. So I'll select EC2 here, and I will say all EC2 actions, click on the resources and say all resources. And when I go to JSON, so you can see that it's added all the EC2 access. Okay, so right now what we are saying is that allow the user, whoever is using this particular policy, to everything, that is everything related to S3 and EC2. And now let's go and update saying that, okay, I want to use for specific resources. Okay, or let's go to the actions. Okay, what I'll say is that instead of all EC2 actions, the user can perform only certain actions here. Okay, so what we will do here is that, let's say that user can list, he cannot create anything. Now if we come to JSON, it should have updated. Okay, one second, what happened? Okay, we have not selected the resource. On all resources we are saying this. All right, so these are the actions that the user can do. Okay, you can see that he can only describe the EC2 instances, but he cannot create it. Okay, let me minimize this so you can see that on all resources. So now let me click next, and I'll leave the tags default. I won't create now. So I'll say EC2 S3 policy. You can give a description here. I'll leave the default. Click on create policy. Okay, now the policy is created. So how can you look into this policy? So when you create, obviously you'll be getting a link, but after a few seconds that will be gone. Now what you can do is that you can click on this filter policies and select the first option, that is customer managed. So when you select that customer managed, you will be able to see this particular policy. You can select this policy here and click on attach, and to which user that you want to attach. You will be able to attach it to the user, or you can attach it to the role, or you can attach to a group. So what I'll do for now is that, let me cancel this, come out of this, click on users, select the user. I'll say demo user 2, and let me give both access for now. That's okay. I'll give a default user. Click next and click on attach existing policies. This time I'll filter it out by customer managed and select that option. Click on next, next review, leave defaults, click on create user. Okay, So what I'll try to do now is that let me log out from this user. This is an IAM user. We have logged in AWS incognito mode. Let me log back in with the demo user 2. So this is the user that we have just created and attached the policy, that the custom policy which we have created. And let me log in with this. So let me click on sign in. All right. So we have given both options, that is S3. So if we go to the S3, we should be able to see the S3 bucket, right? We can see this, and we can even create S3 bucket. So we'll say demo user 3 create, sorry, 2 created bucket, and I'll leave all this optional, and they will even say block all public access. Click on create. Okay, it's not allowing. Yeah, underscores are not allowed. All right. So it has to be a unique name. Don't worry, we'll be having another crash course on S3. But for now, I just wanted to show you that we can even create a bucket with this particular user. So now if I go to EC2 instance here, so let's go to the EC2 instance over here. You can see that we have instances. So you can click on instances. And right now I have selected running. So I'll filter it out. And you see that there is no instance that is running. So we can list out the instances here. But let's see what happens when we try to create an instance. So let me click on launch instance. I'll select all the defaults here. Okay, I'll click on next. And here is where actually I'll be trying to select the IAM role. But you can see now that you do not have permissions to list instance profile. So if you even click on review on launch, there are no key pairs. That's okay. Proceed without a key pair. And click on launch instances. You see that it is failed. Launch failed. You are not authorized to perform this action. So that is the importance of roles. I hope you have understood the roles. So we have looked into managed policy. Now let's look into the inline policy also. Okay, for that what I'll do is that let me navigate back to IAM and let me click on roles. I'll try to create a new role here, and similar to earlier, I'll select AWS services, click on EC2 next, and what we can do is that so this time let's try to look into the inline policy. Right now we have looked into the managed policy of both the AWS provided managed policy as well as the custom policy that we have created. Now let's look into the inline policy option. So for that, let's go to the policies and let me click on create policy, and you can see that so far we have looked into the managed policies. Now let's try to look into the inline policy. So what the managed policy that we were able to achieve is that it's a reusable policy, meaning that you create a policy and you can attach that policy to any kind of user group, or a role. But the inline policy is something that we can attach to the user or the user group. So for that, what I'll show here is that let me navigate back to the IAM console. Right now I'm on the dashboard, and let me click on the users. So if I select demo user 2, you can see that under permissions, there is an option called as add inline policy. So when you try to add an inline policy over here, it's not reusable. It is only applicable to this particular user. Similarly, if you go to user groups, and if you select a certain user group, like for example, let's say admins, and click on permissions, you can see that there is an option to create an inline policy. What we are going to do is that instead of doing it for the user groups, let's attach an inline policy to a certain user. Okay, so what I'll do for now is that let me quickly create a new user. I'll call it as demo user 3 and grant it permissions. I'll create a custom password and I'll put everything default. So I'll leave everything default right now and click the create user. So the user is now created. So what I'll do is that I'll go back to the IAM and click on users, click on demo user 3, and you see that there is no permission that is attached. So right now I want to attach an inline policy. So when I attach an inline policy, it's only applicable to this particular user. So let me click on that, choose a particular service. So I'll just say EC2. Okay, and I'll grant all the permissions. That's okay. And then I'll say all resources, click on review policy. So we'll say inline EC2 EC2 policy, click on create policy. So right now, if you see that it specifically says the policy type as EC2, sorry, inline policy. Okay, now what we will do is that let me go back to the IAM user that I have logged in as demo user 2. Let me log out from here. And what I'll do is that I will log in as demo user 3. Let me click on log back in. And this time I'll say user demo 3 and give the password. Click on sign in. Okay. Oh, sorry, it's demo user 3. And let me log in. Right. So what we will do is that we will now navigate to S3 bucket and see what sort of permissions we have for the S3 bucket. So ideally, if you see, we have not attached any policy, and even the inline policy is not related to S3. So that's the reason why we are getting this permission error. Now let's go to the EC2 console. From the console, let's navigate to the EC2 and we'll see that there are no errors. Of course, there is an error with load balancer. Don't worry about that. We'll see that later. But right now, if you see, we'll be able to create any EC2 instance. Okay. So that's the difference between an inline and managed policy. Next, we will look into the various IAM policies. Apart from the ones that which we have already seen, there are these three distinctive IAM policies which we will be creating now.